Whether you hated it, or sort of liked it, or maybe you just didn't care about it, the Thunderdome is a piece of WWE history that will live on forever in our memories and the history books of sports entertainment. Just like Boombox Brock busting a move in the ring, the Thunderdome is a moment in wrestling we'll never forget. It was the first and hopefully the last time that WWE shows took place without the fans there in person to contribute toward the shows the best way they know how. And that's by being the empty vessels they are. And I think you know what they say about empty vessels. Tonight, people around the world will tune in to SmackDown, the best wrestling show on TV, to celebrate the long-awaited return of the fans live in attendance. And since we are putting the Thunderdome era behind us, I thought it'd be cool to make a video listing the 10 best matches that I watched in the Thunderdome. This list is made up of matches that only happened inside the Thunderdome, so keep that in mind before you tell me about all the matches I missed. Okay, without wasting any time, let's jump straight into number 10. The match that starts off this list is Reggie versus Sasha Banks. Before I comment on this match, I still need someone to explain to me why the hell Reggie was involved in the build-up to Sasha and Bianca's match at this year's WrestleMania. This guy was third-wheeling harder than the third wheel on a tricycle. Gosh! Anyway, the best thing to come out of that is the surprise match he had with Sasha. Now, if you've been watching WWE for a long time, or long enough during the PG era, you know two things. Blood and intergender matches are as rare as a black parent actually saying they love you in their own words. So the fact that we got to see Sasha against Reggie on an episode of SmackDown was shocking to me. What wasn't surprising was the match being nice to watch. I mean, Sasha was in the match. She can pull off a 5-star match with a broom. That's how good she is. I also have to put some respect on Reggie's name because he was the highlight of this match. This man was like Miles Morales on meth. He made me believe in a real-life Black Spider-Man. At number 9, we have the Clash of the Titans. Roman versus Drew takes the 9th spot. These two had an all-out war at Survivor Series. The match went pretty much how I expected it, but it was a joy to watch. The promos before the match were brilliant as well, mainly because of Roman. He inherited the shovel from John Cena and used it to bury Drew deeper than 6 feet. He called Drew his favorite number 2. And to add insult to injury, he beat Drew while he was the WWE champion. Drew brought his A game though for the Survivor Series match, and the two men gave us their best one-on-one match. Let's all act like that WrestleMania match didn't happen from now on, okay? Listed at number 8 is a rivalry born out of the Great British Isles. An Irishman and a Scot went head to head. No pun intended. Actually, no, scratch that. Pun fully intended. These two real-life friends faced off on a random episode of Raw and they put on a WrestleMania-worthy match. The history between these two is worthy of a magnificent storyline culminating in an incredible main event match at WrestleMania. Once you have these two Celtic giants in the ring, you know the match will be very physical. These two don't need Olivia Newton-John telling them to get physical. Considering each man's heritage, they were born to fight. The match was sometimes hard to watch for me because they were going crazy, but it was so much fun. Shout out to Young Thug. The match being on an episode of Raw was the worst thing about it. They gave us all that violence for free, without any stipulation tied to the result. WWE could have at least saved their match up for one of the big pay-per-views. Coming in at number 7 on my list is Big E versus Sheamus. When this match was booked for an episode of SmackDown, right in the middle of the draft, I didn't know what to expect, but I remember feeling quite confident that they'd put on a good match. I made a bigger mistake than Steve Harvey because I should have known these two guys would put on a spectacular match. This match wasn't physical, it was brutal. It just might be the best Big E match I've ever watched. These guys beat each other up so badly I actually wanted the match to end for both their safety. The match proved to me that Big E was ready to go solo, and his solo run has been good, in my opinion. The next match, listed at number 6, is a match that involved 3 big beefy men just destroying each other and not sparing the Thunderdome. Their Extreme Rules encounter caused more damage than Kong, Godzilla, and Mecha Godzilla combined. Okay, that might be too much of an exaggeration, but I think you get my point. The funny thing about this match is that no one, and I mean no one, expected the match to be as good as it was. I don't remember any person looking forward to it because the terrible build-up was just that terrible. But these 3 meaty men proved us wrong. They definitely proved me so wrong. I actually enjoyed this match more than I did the main event, which was Roman versus Cesaro, and this match was amazing as well. Okay, this next match I put at number 5, mainly because of that insane and unbelievable ending. Randy Orton finally murdered someone, or in this case something, on international television. Of all the people who've worked for WWE, I knew Randy was the most capable of executing a murder on live TV. The Fiend was burned alive. It was the most non-PG thing I've seen in WWE's family-friendly era. It was so shocking to watch, but at the same time, I was proud of WWE for going there because none of us expected them to. It would have made a nice and fitting end to their rivalry, but this is WWE, so you already know they had a rematch. The 2 MVPs of WWE's whole pandemic era take the 4th spot with their exceptional Hell in a Cell match. Bayley versus Sasha Banks inside the cell was iconic. It's the best women's Hell in a Cell match ever, and that isn't up for debate. From start to finish, these 2 women told such a great story, man. Their chemistry is unmatched, and if any of you have any doubt about them being Hall of Famers one day, this match should absolutely eliminate all of those doubts. These women are literal living legends at this point in their careers. The only thing I can really say about this match is go and watch it, and if you have, re-watch the damn thing because it's worth it. In the top 3, and listed at number 3, is the nail-biting bout between Kevin Owens and the head of all tables, Roman Reigns. I couldn't take my eyes off this match. I was glued to the screen throughout. This was one of the very few times I felt Roman's reign as Universal Champion was in jeopardy. I distinctly remember a moment in the match when Roman was lying outside the ring and the right-hand man Jay Uso was nowhere to be seen, while Kevin inched up the ladder to the Universal title. My heart was in my throat. I was on the literal edge of my seat. In that moment, Kevin Owens made me a believer. I thought he'd end Roman's tyrannical reign, but Jay Uso earned his place as the right-hand man, and it was not meant to be for the prize fighter. At number 2, I have one of the best matches of 2020. Sami Zayn versus Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles. This match at last year's Clash of Champions pay-per-view is an instant classic. People today tend to throw the word classic around too much, so I rarely ever use it to label a match or an album or any piece of art, but this match right here is a definite classic. It's such a pity it didn't happen in front of a live crowd because they would have gone berserk for this one. I know this because I was going crazy watching it on TV. The stuff with Sami and the handcuffs was sublime, and this is the most creative thing I've seen in a ladder match ever. Please find this and watch it. If you haven't, you won't regret it one bit. The final match on my list, taking the number 1 spot, is the best display of what professional wrestling is all about. The Hell in a Cell match between the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and main event Jay Uso. I have never been so emotionally invested in a wrestling match like I was for this one. The brutality, the passion, the deceit in this. I actually forgot I was watching a scripted fight. The thing felt so real. This is one of those matches where words wouldn't do it justice. It wasn't a wrestling match. It was an experience and a masterclass in storytelling. This was the first time a WWE match left me speechless. This is Ring Banter. I'm Kat, the African Mark, and this is my list of the 10 best matches in the Thunderdome. Tell me what you think in the comments and maybe give me your favorites. Thank you to my subscribers. You're the reason I keep making these, and if you haven't subscribed, do the right thing. Join the Banter Nation. We are in this together. And as always, peace.